Hey there, it's Matt. Uh, so with the Russia/Ukraine war going on right now, where Russia has made steps to overtake Ukraine's territory, I decided to go on Google and read up on, very shortly in fairness, but still should be accurate. I checked a few websites, two news websites, on the accuracy of, because the first one, it said that there were something 7,000 Russian soldier deaths, which is, to me, it's a crime. To me, that's actually that's a crime in of itself. So I checked. Granted, is their job, but and complications go into it, but in a very big way, I think that is the most blasphemous, horrendous, terrible thing. So I checked this other website called CBC News, and it said between 7,000 and 15,000 soldiers were killed. And I mean, what troubles me most about that is that the only way we have a consciousness, right, is through life. We do not actually have a consciousness through that, which seems an obvious statement, which seems a blatant statement. But I want you to understand what that really means for a second. See, I'm not the most educated on politics. I'm not the most educated on the act of the world turning its leaf onto what it once stood for reasons, but I can decipher that perhaps those reasons are not adequate pertaining to the reality, which is that you are sacrificing people, and that's really fucked up. And I'm just, a guy recording this because, well, maybe I feel that when I go on, Reddit or something, on social media websites, and I see the truth, and then in the comments it feels like we're all so desensitized because we don't live there. We're also desensitized to that reality. And just as an FYI, just as a sideline, I deal with this condition that I feel over time has made me more susceptible to a sociopathic outlook, in a way. Like, it hasn't really muted me, but it's kind of muted me. But the one thing I'll forever hold on to, and I'll hold on dearest to, is my cognitive reality. And that always stands for caring and truth. And the fact of the matter is, if my father or even my mother was in a war, and if they died, I don't know if I'd ever get over it. Now, the truth is we're all people. And I'd cry for days, and I don't cry anymore. The truth is we're people. So we all have one thing in equal. We have a consciousness. We see, unless we're blind, but even then we feel. We hear unless we're deaf, but even then we perceive. And no matter where you're born, that stays. Your consciousness stays. And what's fascinating about that, or what's important about that, more specifically, and most importantly, is that, well, maybe it's important to find happiness, but maybe it's more important to realize what makes you happy. See, some people are unfortunate. That's the point I'm driving to. And, I'm just like finding myself in this really weird way, but I'm not envisioning really anything literally. I can kind of feel like a soldier's debt coming back home. And just the parents being white. Or just the family just being devastated. And I don't think that's really discussed enough. Like, let me give an example. You have a concert or something like the Astroworld concert where there were actually people that died. At this concert that Travis Scott performed at, which was a very sad thing. I believe he gave an apology. And, this one guy spoke up about someone he knew having died at that concert. It was a very sad video, and it got a decent bit of media attention. Which is not... It's not needed. I get that. You can find closure and peace within yourself and within your small circle. I get that. But there's a point in the stories of empathy being shared more. Instead of just on a retrospective kick, I don't know. Something about that bugs me. Because there's actually people's lives being lost every day, and it's almost like they just fade away. And then no one remembers them anymore. Like, they didn't even fucking matter. And you want to know what the truth is? That would happen to me. If I was a soldier. Which I could never be, but... And okay. It's their jobs, but first of all, it's their jobs. They get paid for it regardless. It doesn't mean that simply because they went through the improper movement and they didn't act properly. Like let's say you mess up at a fast food joint. Ooh, there's maybe a customer's complaint and nothing else. Big deal. It's a criticism. You mess up in war and you literally can die, and you do die. That's the part that fucks me up. Is you're talking about a job that risks your life, that you're living. I'm starting to ask myself, like, why even do it? And it gets complicated when you consider everything that goes into it. But you want to know what fucks me up? They kind of gotta defend themselves. How could they not? Because then that sets a standard. So on that end, I'm on Ukraine's side because they have to defend themselves. But they have soldiers that are losing lives too, and that just kills me even more. Because otherwise, it says the precedent. If they own, because I think how the story would go, I'm not very educated on this at all, but I think how the story would go is that they would have partially or somewhat owned Ukraine in the past, so then they make one move, they make another move, they make another move. But you know what I'm thinking to myself this whole time? Russia, you have a ton of territory. You have a blatant amount of territory, enough to fit all of your citizens. Why the fuck are you invading another place? Why the fuck are you invading Ukraine? You have enough territory to fit all of your people. Why the fuck are you invading Ukraine. It actually doesn't make an ounce of goddamn sense. But yet, that happens. And, you know, I'm the kind of guy who used to cry a lot. Who doesn't really cry anymore. But I wanted to cry when I read the statistic. I did want to cry. Because it's serious. It's extremely serious. And, you know, those lives are lost so that a permanent change is eventually made. But those lives fade away while the permanent change stays. And there's something about that bothers me, sincerely bothers me as well. It's like maybe they're compensated for enough, but I have doubts. Because in the US, which I presume would be better at taking care of these things, that presumption, you've got veterans who deal with PTSD, who deal with exuberant depression, who deal with severe mental health issues, and they're homeless, you know? They're actually fucking homeless. And they cannot handle the pressures of life, is what is said by some. But maybe the reality is they just can't be themselves anymore. Anyways, I just wanted to say all of that because I feel sad. That's my reasoning. I feel sad. And, you know, maybe there's a heaven for him out there. But maybe there isn't. That's all. Shit. 7,000. I mean, they're a big populace, but it doesn't change. Like, it could be like 1, and I'd be like, sorry, bro, you know. Like, it could literally be fucking 1. And it would still fuck me out. It just fucks me up a hell of a lot more. That is 7,000. To even more. And, you know, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't really think that war happens for a reason. I think war happens. I think that's the difference. I don't really think it is for a reason. I think to say that war happens for a reason implies that there is reasoning behind murder. And that is the saddest shit. That is the saddest shit. You've got people, because I mean, it's kind of sad. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I think. Anything else? Shut. No. Goodbye. And Ukraine, Russia's people. Ukraine and Russia's people. Stay strong. You know, the whole world should stay strong, but I suspect that if you're not involved, as in if you're not there, then it just doesn't hit in the same way. Because as a species, we're the kind of people that push things aside and that pretend to care, but that don't truly care until it happens to us or our surroundings. Then we really know what it is to actually care. That's most of us. Like, to have empathy over this matter, genuinely so, would be a surprisingly small amount of the population, I think. Anyway, see ya.